That's our time. Be sure to watch at 6.
On World News Tonight this Thursday, a jury decides that some of the gun manufacturers have been negligent about selling their guns, and they can be held responsible for the violence. A $51 million verdict against Big Tobacco. That was one very angry jury. We'll take a closer look at illegal drugs in the Olympics. Are the Olympics trying hard enough, or is the race already lost? And our latest version of technology on the cutting edge, the personal flying machine.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with guns on trial. We have been reporting on the wave of lawsuits against gun makers for the cost of gun violence. Late today, the first verdict. The jury in New York City has ruled that some gun makers were negligent in the way they sold handguns. And the jury found some specific links between those marketing practices and specific acts of violence. The lawsuit was filed by a group of people who'd been victims of gun violence. It's a little complicated. Here's our legal correspondent, Terry Moran, to explain what's happened.
The plaintiff's claim was simple. Gun companies flood the market in states with loose gun laws. Guns not bought by local residents are smuggled north to states with tougher laws where they are used in crime. The plaintiffs contended that deadly oversupply is the direct result of the industry's negligence, and they sought to make gun companies pay compensation to crime victims.
What the gun industry is doing is sticking their head in the sand and saying, we're selling to distributors and to retailers, but we're not going to monitor who they sell to and where these products are going.
But the industry responded that the underground market was a criminal problem, not the manufacturer's fault.
There is evidence that guns come into New York from many other states, including states in the South. But that is not any evidence of negligence on behalf of the manufacturers.
Tonight's verdict is a defeat for the gun industry, but the plaintiffs in this case wanted much more. They wanted this jury to send an unequivocal message that the gun manufacturers are directly responsible for the mayhem on our streets, and that the jury did not do, Peter. This was a mixed verdict.
So if it is a little ambiguous, and a lot of other cases out there, what's the impact likely to be?
This will encourage the wave of litigation that has begun. It will encourage other cities, and certainly the gun industry. One of these plaintiffs won more than $1 million in damages, and that will get the attention of any industry. This is the beginning of a long battle.
Thanks very much. Terry Moran, our legal correspondent on the gun verdict in New York City today. In last night's broadcast, we told you the bare bones of an enormously important verdict in a tobacco case that had just been handed down by a jury in California against Philip Morris. Well, it turns out it's the largest award ever in a lawsuit against a tobacco company. $51.5 million to a woman who was a long-time smoker who now has inoperable lung cancer. And this time the tobacco industry is really upset. Here's ABC's Barry Serafin.
The stunning punitive damage award was more than triple the amount that Patricia Henley had asked for.
We were very shocked because we did not expect to win this case.
This jury really, as a whole, was very angry at the cigarette companies.
An attorney for Philip Morris called the verdict out of line and said the company will appeal. The tobacco industry's multi-billion-dollar settlement of state lawsuits last November does not protect the companies against individual suits. One of the industry's main arguments in such cases has been that smokers themselves bear the responsibility. That did not work in this case.
I'm going to die. Isn't that enough responsibility?
One factor in this case, some of the millions of internal company documents unearthed by the states in their lawsuits. Documents that showed what the companies had concealed about nicotine and the risks of smoking.
There will be many more lawsuits filed because of the availability of that documentary evidence.
Plaintiffs' attorneys around the country are going to realize that you can bring a case in California or Timbuktu or wherever, and you might have a chance of winning.
California is only one of a dozen states where damages can be awarded, even if juries find smokers like Patricia Henley mostly to blame for choosing to smoke. Barry Serafin, ABC News, Washington.
In much of the country, it was another bad day for American Airlines. Late today, the airline asked a federal judge to cite its pilots' union for contempt of court. Yesterday, the judge ordered the pilots to go back to work, but hundreds of them called in sick again today, and American had to cancel more than 1,000 flights. On the money tonight, whiplash on Wall Street. This is some volatile market. After going down and down in some cases in the early part of the week, technology and internet stocks led a sharp rebound today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 186 points to close at 93.63. On the NASDAQ, stocks were up 96 points. That's the biggest one-day point gain ever. Well, it's hard to be noticed as an internet company trying to get off the ground, and so a company called Exit23B.com, which hopes to sell electronics on the net, is having a sweepstake. 10 people will win 10,000 shares in the company each. It is, by the way, a little early, but we thought you should know the price of a Major League Baseball ticket is going up next season by about 7% in many cities. That'll take the price to a little more than $15. And here's something we rather like. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays are having a lawyer appreciation night this season. Tickets for lawyers are double, and they'll be charged an additional fee every third inning. Proceeds will actually go to Florida's legal aid. When we come back, it looks as if the Senate is about to let the president off the hook. Will Mr. Clinton gloat or seek revenge? And technology on the cutting edge, 200 miles in half an hour.
Every day I wake up, pour myself a cup of that rich Folgers aroma. The best part of waking up, it's the doo-wop, doo-wop in all I do. The mountain goat aroma always coming through, always coming through. Oh, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
3 minutes from now, a heart attack victim will be rushed into this emergency room. Medication will be injected. IV fluids will be needed. The patient will be protected from infection. Breathing will be assisted. And one more life will be saved.
Mrs. Hanson? Yes. Hi, I'm Dr. Moore. Her husband's doing fine. Oh, I'm so glad.
Thanks to advanced medical techniques and a material we call plastic.
Enterprise, rent a car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
In Washington today, another Republican Senator, Olympia Snowe of Maine, this time, has said she will not vote to convict the president of either article of impeachment, which means that today Washington is beginning to shift its focus from the president's obvious acquittal to how he might react. The New York Times raised the possibility today that he will stage an all-out offensive against the people who tried to remove him from office. ABC's Sam Donaldson is at the White House.
Outside the Capitol, a lone protester brandished his message, while an itinerant preacher exhorted the Senate
to love and forgive.
Inside, the Senate, before closing its doors, heard its own chaplain warn of unseemly behavior in the trial's aftermath.
This is a time neither for gloating over victory nor grimness over losing.
But after this morning's New York Times quoted anonymous sources suggesting the president might turn his expected victory into a triumphant orgy of revenge against Republicans, some Republicans feared the worst.
What happened to repentance, atonement, and contrition? This is gloating, and it's wrong.
He wants a legacy of vengeance and revenge against those who dared to speak the truth.
The president wove a web of perjury.
In fact, it's clear that vulnerable House Republicans like James Rogan, who helped prosecute the case in the Senate, are going to be targeted in the next election. But Democratic Party advisors are telling the president he must not gloat.
If there is some feeling of joy and vindication at having this over with, at least for the time, I'm sure he will do his best not to show it.
And although White House officials acknowledge the president is going to work hard now to elect a Democratic Congress, they deny he's motivated by a desire to get the people who were trying to get him.
I can't think of a worse, more dumb strategy than going after people based on whether they were a House manager or not.
When the president was asked about all this when seeing out visiting German Chancellor Schroeder,
President, the Republicans say you're after revenge.
He maintained his usual silence on all matters pertaining to the scandal. Tomorrow after the vote, the president will talk about all this in a television address. No gloating, only expressions of sincere regret for his action and a desire to move ahead, according to his aides. And as far as those anonymous sources suggesting revenge, White House Chief of Staff John Podesta angrily told the staff this morning that's nonsense. He told them, Peter, that anyone telling reporters that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Thank you, Sam. Sam Donaldson at the White House this evening. A couple of nights ago, much of the media reported the results of a survey about sexual dysfunction in America. It was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Today, the journal is apologizing for failing to disclose that one of the study's principal authors is now a paid consultant to the Pfizer Corporation, maker of the impotence pill Viagra. That led to some skepticism about the study's validity, but as we pointed out the other night, the survey was done 7 years ago, long before Viagra. In a moment, is the International Olympic Committee ignoring its biggest problem? A closer look at athletes and drugs.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings and a closer look. Brought to you by Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
Why do I have Aflac insurance on top of my regular health insurance? Because he has his mother's eyes. Because I still have to teach him to whistle. And because Aflac helps cover what other insurance doesn't. If I'm injured, Aflac even provides cash to help pay bills. So why do I have Aflac? Did I mention he has his mother's eyes? Aflac supplemental insurance. Without it, no insurance is complete.
When dentures dream, they see the perfect denture cleanser. One with the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and the freshening power of Listerine. Well, little friend, dream no more. It's really here. It's called Efferdent Plus, and it's the only denture cleanser that could make your dream come true. Efferdent Clean and Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Have you seen these specialized blends of herbs, vitamins, and minerals from One A Day for things like tension and memory? 9G? No. So the next time life is pulling you in different directions, help your body help itself with One A Day specialized blends. They're just what you need to feel your best.
Let's break away, relax your mind, where twisting roads help you unwind. You're in control now, you're on a roll now, you're making whoopee.
Nothing puts you in complete control quite like the Agile DeVille.
You're really moving, it feels so soothing, you're making whoopee.
DeVille, for the time of your life.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at Olympic scandal. Salt Lake City is still struggling to get beyond its reputation of having bought the 2002 Winter Games by paying off members of the International Olympic Committee. As of today, there's a new head of the Salt Lake Olympic Committee. Mitt Romney, whose father was governor of Michigan some years ago, is a Mormon businessman with a reputation for helping businesses in trouble. He says he will not take a salary until the games make money, and one of his challenges will be to raise money. All this focus on payoffs and corruption has obscured what some people think is the biggest threat to the Olympics and all sports for that matter. ABC's Tom Foreman reports tonight on athletes and drugs.
Here comes Mark Tewksbury to the final. In 1992, Canadian Mark Tewksbury won Olympic gold for swimming. Last week, he quit his position with the Canadian Olympic Association, frustrated that the International Olympic Committee has not come to grips with the issue of performance-enhancing drugs.
It hurts me very much to see that the Olympics are somehow becoming synonymous with drug use.
By all accounts, athletes and coaches are becoming much more aggressive and skillful in using drugs. From sodium bicarbonate, which keeps muscles from tiring, to patches soaked with synthetic testosterone to build muscles. Many drugs cannot be detected with standard urine tests.
At this juncture, athletes can use those drugs with impunity.
Blood tests can be more accurate, but the IOC does not use those, unwilling to confront religious and health objections from athletes. And the IOC does not require random urine testing during training. That could catch athletes who use drugs but clean themselves up just before competition.
I believe that much of drug testing today is simply done for public relations, to show the public that we really don't have a problem.
The IOC tried to tackle these problems during its drug summit last week, but the meeting ended in disarray. Even a new 2-year automatic ban for drug use has so many loopholes, some say any cheating athlete can easily avoid the penalty.
But the IOC said we're going to commit $25 million to start this process. And I think that's a very important step forward.
The blame is not all the IOC's. Some of the strongest opposition to tougher drug standards is coming from sports federations, which clearly fear less drug use will mean less spectacular competition, fewer spectators, less money.
At some point, all of the sports in the world need to really honestly want to clean this thing up before it's going to clean itself up.
An enormous challenge. Of the 9 million teen athletes in America today, studies show 500,000 are already using performance drugs. Tom Foreman, ABC News, Salt Lake City.
Well, these are serious allegations about the IOC, and they depict the International Olympic Committee as somewhat less than totally committed. A little while ago, we talked about this with Christine Brennan, who's an ABC News sports consultant and has covered the Olympics and the movement since 1984. Christine, how weak really is the International Olympic Committee policy on illegal drugs?
It is weak, and I think one of the problems, it's a public relations problem for the IOC. Obviously, if the tests are stronger, if they go to blood testing, say, they're going to catch more people. Sponsors don't necessarily want athletes being marched out and having their medals taken away.
Tom Foreman says in his piece that the IOC at the drug summit last month passed such a watered-down 2-year automatic drug ban that it doesn't mean much. Why has that happened?
The IOC is really an umbrella organization over 40 to 50 international federations of sport. And a lot of sports have a lot of different views on this thing. The Swimming Federation, for example, wants to catch everyone because they've been burned. But other sports, cycling, for example, tennis, don't want to put their athletes through this stiff drug testing. Therein lies the problem.
Is there any sense among those of you who cover the Olympic movement on a full-time basis that this will at some point undermine the Olympic movement altogether?
Peter, I think this issue is more important in the long run than the ongoing saga of the Olympic Bid City scandal. This is the athletes. This is the essence of the games. We expect our Olympic athletes to be better than an NFL player, an NBA player, et cetera, et cetera. And if they're not, if they're down there in the dirt with other players, with all the other things going on in pro sports, then I think all is lost for the Olympic Games.
Christine, thanks very much. Christine Brennan. When we come back, what to do about the major social problem that was created by Iran's Ayatollahs 20 years ago.
Cleaning your teeth, protecting against plaque and tartar buildup, and prevention of gingivitis is crucial. You got that, Eline? Regular use of Dentabone has been clinically shown to reduce gingivitis. Just look at the difference it made in these 2 dogs. I recommend Dentabone from Pedigree.
This is not like any other antacid I've ever had.
You won't believe your mouth.
It dissolves in your mouth. It's just like shabam.
Introducing Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables, a whole new kind of calcium antacid for heartburn.
Dissolves immediately, swallow, done.
Boom.
New Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables dissolve faster and more completely than Tums.
It's not gritty. It's not pieces. Goodbye, grit.
New Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewable Tablets. Quick dissolve your heartburn away.
I'm a happy man.
From 1 Minute Maalox. Woods aren't the only place predators lurk. If you were being followed, would you know what to do? Make sure your doors are locked, windows up. Don't go home. Drive to where there are people, someplace bright, then lean on the horn and draw attention. For more safety tips, get this free book from Shell. Count on Shell.
If the same cold keeps going around your family, count on Lysol disinfectant spray. The only one with 99.9% germ kill in 30 seconds. No spray works faster to help reduce the spread of illness-causing germs. All you have to do is use it, regularly of course. The fact is, nothing helps protect or has earned the trust of more families than Lysol spray. You have our word on it.
Overseas, in Iran today, the streets of the capital Tehran were filled with people marking the 20th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution. Iran is very much like the rest of the region in some respects now. 2/3 of its population is very young, and there are very few actual memories of the revolution for millions of people. And today, Iran faces very different challenges than it did 20 years ago. ABC's Bill Redeker reports tonight from Tehran.
The numbers are staggering. In the last 20 years, the population of Iran has more than doubled, from 34 million to 73 million. Twice as many people now live in Tehran as in New York City. The result? Overcrowding, severe pollution, a strain on housing, a shortage of jobs. Iran got into this predicament because 20 years ago, religious leaders encouraged their followers to have lots of children for the Islamic Revolution. Now the clergy says that was a mistake. So they have turned to pragmatism. A generation later, they are trying to reverse the trend with some of the most aggressive family planning initiatives anywhere. Before Iranian couples can even apply for a marriage license, they must first attend mandatory classes in birth control. At state-run clinics, they are offered a variety of contraceptive devices, all of them at no charge. I chose an IUD, says this mother of 3. I don't want any more children. For men, free condoms, free vasectomies. And if anyone should question this extraordinary departure from Iran's strict Islamic law, Dr. Faridun Ferrari shows them this religious decree.
There is no problem for vasectomy.
Even in the holy city of Qom, 20 years after the Ayatollahs convinced the government to lower the marriage age to 9, they have raised it to 15. One more way to try to reduce the number of births. We are increasing the quality of the population, says Ayatollah Shirazi, not the quantity. Shirazi says the birth rate has been cut in half. The UN says the numbers are not quite that impressive, but good enough to recommend Iran's campaign as a model for other countries. Bill Redeker, ABC News, Tehran.
In Kosovo today, a funeral service for the victims of a massacre. It took nearly a month, but Serb authorities finally turned over the bodies of 40 ethnic Albanians whose murders led to the current negotiations on the status of Kosovo in general. The dead were buried just a few hundred yards from where they were discovered and where presumably they had been murdered. When we come back, technology on the cutting edge.
They are just people, normal in every way but one. They expect more from a truck than 99% of the world. We call them the 1%ers. With their demanding standards in mind, we introduced the completely redesigned GMC Sierra. One percenters, the wait is over. The all-new Sierra from GMC.
There is a new breed of business person who has decided to go it alone. You, the entrepreneur, who shed the shackles of the corporate world to start your own business. Staples will always be there for you.
What hit me? Wingtip.
Staples has everything for your home office. Want low prices? Yeah, we've got that.
Bacon! Bacon! Where's the bacon? I
smell bacon. 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 Gotta be bacon. Only one thing smells like bacon. That's bacon. Bacon, 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 bacon. There! From that bag. What's it say? I can't read. Please, please, give me what's in the bag. Chewy, yummy, smoky bacon.
There you go.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. No, 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 no. It's bacon!
No, it's Bacon Strips, brand dog snack from Purina. Bacon Strips. Dogs don't know it's not bacon.
It's bacon!
Tonight from ABC News, Crime and Justice.
I shot somebody's ear off with a .357.
If you think you're going to kill your way to the top,
you're a fool. A world on the edge of society. Street life inside America's gangs. Tonight.
Finding from us this evening a remarkable invention that could someday, emphasis on someday, radically change the way we get to work. Definitely technology on the cutting edge. The personal flying machine. Here's ABC's Jack Smith.
We are all familiar with this.
Traffic at 880 southbound is stopped up between...
All too familiar. But this? It's how commuting could look in the not-too-distant future if this Sky Car lives up to the hopes of the California engineer who built it.
There's a whole future of vehicles that will allow you to go where you want, when you want, and that means taking off and landing vertically and flying fast.
Like a Harrier jump jet, the Sky Car is designed to take off straight up when the thrust from its engines, really just high-speed fans, is directed downwards.
And that's what lifts you up off the ground.
The vertical thrust. That's conversion of the thrust from horizontal to vertical.
When its rotary motors were tested in this prototype, they proved super efficient and powerful. Once airborne, the Sky Car would be able to travel 390 miles an hour and get 20 miles to the gallon, combining the best in a car, a helicopter, and a jet.
I was astounded as how extremely well thought out the whole project actually was. It makes it very, very airworthy.
The Sky Car has its first test trials this summer, but there are still obvious questions about its feasibility.
When you get more than 2 or 3 of these in the sky at the same time, how are you going to keep them from running into each other?
Well, the vehicle itself really is going to be a flying computer.
And computers wouldn't just fly it, they'd also have to guide it through electronic traffic lanes in the sky. The technology for this exists, but is costly and would take years to install. Nevertheless, Sky Car could dramatically cut congestion and might even do more. A commute today of 10 or 20 miles can take half an hour, depending on the traffic. But behind the wheel of this Sky Car, a commuter in the same time can cover up to 200 miles. And that means that in the future, people won't have to live as close to cities as they now do. They can live where they want.
At some point in time, we're going to use this great natural resource. It's essentially unused. If you go outside today and look in the sky, you don't see really anything moving around up there.
But if Mueller and other engineers are correct, in as little as a decade, you may. A personal flying machine with the potential to change where and how we live in the next century. Jack Smith, ABC News, Davis, California.
That's our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. We hope you have a nice evening, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Tomorrow, the population shift that transformed our nation. The journey north, a brief glimpse of the century. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABCnews.com now